Hello, everyone. I'm Harrek, and I'm here joined by YouTee. And today we're gonna talk a little bit about the latest changes that preservation has gotten in the world within Alpha. Specifically about one change that we were all asking for, which is Spatial Paradox is now a general evoker in the evoker class tree as opposed to only for augmentation. It is a choice node with time spiral, and for a long time now, at least since augmentation has existed, we have been asking for this change. Like this is something that a lot of people really wanted. That preservation specifically at least requested a lot. So UT, in your words, in your mind, why is this requested so much? Why did we really wanted this for so long?
So Spatial brings a unique RAID viability to Prez that we've been missing for a while. When Augmentation came out, it was only Prez and Dev, and Augmentation came out, and they had a plethora of RAID viability. They had Spatial, they had Wormstone, they just brought general group health and movement speed. So to be able to take some of that off Augmentation shoulders and put it into the class tree both helps not only Prez but also Dev. Um, it's a very, very important raid cooldown now. It pairs very well with like your disc and your holy cooldowns. It is a 3-minute cooldown now instead of 2 minutes, so it kind of reduces the power slightly, but it's still very strong. And not to mention, it increases our range to 60 yards for 12 seconds. Um, it does have a few blacklisted spells like rescue, so you can't pull people like 100 yards away. But it's very, very good for press.
Right, but at the end of the day, this is like a band-aid that we get for a range because, like, we have discussed about the range like a lot of the time, and at this point, I think we're gonna say that Blizzard is not gonna like fix our range. Like, we're gonna be stuck at least for a while. I think at least for this next expansion, still with a shorter range, but this kind of helps. Like, it's not ideal because it's just like a couple of seconds every 3 minutes, and you gotta kind of coordinate with your disc priest or maybe your monk or whatever it is. But at least it helps, I guess. Like, if the situation requires it, you can use it. And unlike other healer things like potent mana, yeah, unlike potent mana, you can actually use Spatial Paradox on yourself, right? So you can, like, if there's a Mythic Plus dungeon where you need the range for a spell or something like really annoying, you can spec into it and just throw it on yourself.
Yeah, so spatial can be used on yourself. It is currently bugged on the alpha where it just puts both of them on you instead of one and another healer, but that's fine. That'll be fixed.
All right. So one thing that I was discussing with my guild when I showed them this change was that because it is a choice mode with time spiral, like that's not ideal, obviously, because it means preservation specifically brings a little bit less the rate, right? Because you have to choose between one of the two. But also, it means that even if augmentation continues to be required, like if your raid continues to need two augmentation evokers for every raid, like you still bring something extra because like yeah, if you need two times spirals, then you can make your augmentation spec the time spiral, and your press still brings a Spatial Paradox as something extra instead of just being redundant because you already have the augmentation. So like this also applies for devastation, right? Like having an extra evoker now means you bring extra things, like regardless if you already have a couple of them.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting way to kind of spread out the wealth that augmentation had. So I'm excited to see and obviously test it more. I'm very happy that we got something. Like you said earlier, it is just a band aid. I doubt we end up seeing our 40-yard range, but I will take small fixes here and there to eventually get there. So
Right, you've tested this a little bit on the alpha. How does it work for the cone abilities? Like, is the Dream Breath and Fire Breath like extended? How does it work with this?
So the visuals of your cone on your dream breath and your fire breath aren't extended, but the actual effect of your dream breath and your fire breath are significantly extended out to that 60-yard range. So you will hit people very, very far away.
That's, I think that's a little bit annoying actually because, like, well, obviously it's good that Dream Breath is extended, right?
Mhm.
But if the visual is not extended, like it might feel weird that you're hitting people outside the range. But also, if your Dream Breath range is getting extended when you Spatial Paradox, that might also feel weird. I don't know really how to feel about that.
Yeah, I feel like they'll probably end up updating the visual just for spatial paradox, but I'm also kind of worried about a visual being 60 yards and a 90-degree cone out in front of you, it could be a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, maybe. Well, I guess we'll just see how they fix it. Anyway, just having the option to speak in the Spatial Paradox is just been a great for like for certain fights. Like I'm thinking of Tindral. It like this wouldn't really solve the issue that preservation had on Tindral with the dispels. Like obviously you could not Spatial Paradox every single dispel, right? Like that's not really it. But for specific situations, like I'm thinking in Firak in the last phase, you could Spatial Paradox to echo every single seed carrier, right? Like really easily.
yeah, I mean, even if you're not even thinking about just yourself, because this tier would have been more of you're throwing spatial on your Mistweaver or you're on your disc. Um, I know there's definitely plenty of points in this raid where I would have liked a spatial in P2 around that second seed set, which would have been uh, really awesome to have a pres to have spatial for me. But disc gets priority on that. But I was thinking more like Frac P1 or even Frac P3 would be a really good spot for spatial for specifically as pres, because right now you just have a Mistweaver or different healers stand in the middle healing the people that are 60 plus yards away on the other side of the boss with the seeds. And so it might be helpful for us to, even just put 2 reversions on them for grace period value, or just to kind of buffer the damage that they're taking the stress off of other healers.
Yeah, or even just to include them in your ramp. Like if you're throwing temporal anomalies and echoing people around you, and before you be to lifeline, you can use you cool Spatial Paradox, so you can arrange to echo those people, so they also get lifeline when you ramp, right? Like so you can include people in your ramp that are usually out of your range, and that would be pretty good.
Yeah, that would have been. I mean,
Right.
I would have really liked
Okay.
that on Frack.
Yeah, it would have been great in that fight. Having a Spatial Paradox itself, like having the option to pick it, would have made more likely for people to take preservation and devastation to the raid, right? Like just having the raid utility means it's easy for you to justify your spot.
Yeah, the raid viability of present dev has gone up
Yes.
quite a bit. There's still quite a bit we need to steal from Og to become, I would say, competitive. But this is it's a step in the right direction.
Yes. Right. So we got one more change that it's obviously is not as important, I think, like getting a Spatial Paradox, but it seems really fun and it was a really good change because we have ranted about temporal compression for a really long time that is just useless and annoying and it should be removed. And instead of removing it, they went the other way of buffing it by 100%, which is not the first time they've done for us. But now it looks like it's pretty really good.
Yeah, so I've been playing around with temporal compression on the alpha, and it went from a talent that I despise forever. It's just been this talent in our tree that has been inferior to basically the other specs, font of magic or font of power, whatever it's called. And our empowered spells, like even if you had 4 stacks of temporal compression and you hit a rank 4 spirit bloom, it takes you 2.5 seconds to get there in raid. And now we get 10% cast speed per stack. So we get 40% cast speed with max stacks. And this stacks with, other haste, other cast speed increases like uh, quicken pulse from our flame shaper tree.
Yeah.
And I have a clip that's in the Discord that I got a rank 4 spirit bloom in about half a second. I mean, you can feel the difference instantly just logging in. It feels so good. It may not be like a high throughput deal, but it feels good to play.
Yeah, and especially because temporal compression is like a forced pick for us. Like you cannot pass through the tree without picking temporal compression. And especially for me, who I really enjoy casting Spirit Bloom. Like Spirit Bloom is probably my favorite ability in the game. Like, but the only problem is that you sit there rooted for like 4 seconds when you want to max rank it. This is like really good. Like now, temporal compression is actually worth playing around. Like you should get a weak aura to track the stacks because now this thing is really good and it's really important. Like if you do not get temporal compression before you sit there to cast your Spirit Bloom, you're gonna feel it. It's gonna be really bad now. But
Yeah,
doing it with the stacks is gonna be really good.
it's just like hitting lust every time before you press spirit bloom, but it's better. It's better than lust. So it feels really good, and it's going to be really good for Raid. It's going to be really good for Mythic Plus. It's just going to be good in general. So
It's also going to be a little bit of extra skill cap, right? Because now, like, important part of the rotation is going to be to get the temporal compression stacks before you Firebreath or before you Spirit Bloom, because it just cuts the cast time in half.
yeah, it goes along with our normal rotation that we used to talk about in season 1 of our Echo Echo TA Echo playing the Burger King song. So
Yeah.
so yeah, it feels really good, and I'm excited to see what else they do for us. I really would like to see Font of Magic or Source of Magic or whatever it's called to be applied to us and the person we put it on, just like Spatial is. So I'm looking forward to more changes in the future, and hopefully we get to see some more fun stuff like this.
Yeah, so far I think we're going in a good direction. Like every single change they've done so far, I think preservation is getting better, like noticeably better, and like the hero talent trees are good. The latest changes are good. Like it's looking really good.
Yeah, class tree, spec tree changes were really really good. Mostly for Mythic Plus, they're pretty decent for Raid if you play Blossoms. Both of our hero talent trees are feeling really good so far. I mean, one is a very active tree. The other one's full of passives that just makes you do more of what you wanted to do anyways. So both of them increase the amount of gameplay that you have and the speed of your gameplay. So I'd say we're in a really good spot right now, and I hope to keep it up.
Yeah, at this point, the one thing I will say that we're really missing is just adjustments to the class tree, because preservation is still really tight in there.
Yeah, our class tree is very very restrictive right now. We have maybe one or two floating points, and I would suspect that something is coming. I feel like we will see AUG and Dev changes, and those will come with the class tree change, which comes with us. So I hope they kind of loosen up some of that restrictiveness that we're currently in. Um, because I'd like more movement speed or just more hovers or my hovers to last longer. But instead, I have to path to throughput and raid utility. So hope we see some changes there.
Yeah, I mean this is still early in the alpha, right? Anything can still come.
Anything can
So
happen.
we'll see. Yep. Well, I guess for these specific changes, that's everything I had in mind. How about you?
Yeah, that's about all we have right now. I hope we see some more next week. Yeah.
For sure. Okay. Uh, Thank you, Yuti.
Thank you, Harrek.